I always end my videos by saying, be sure to go out and encourage someone today because you never know how you're going to change their life. Well, today I'm going to tell you a story about how one man 15 years ago changed my life forever. 2004 was a tough year. I had just started fishing the BASS open circuit. My family was very supportive, but we had just been married not that long. The boys were young and money was tight. For a lot of you that have tournament fished, you know that it is very expensive. Entry fees, a lot of money. Gas for the boat and the truck, a lot of money. My boat at the time held 54 gallons and gasoline was nearing that $4 a gallon mark, so it was around $200 to $210 every time I filled up the boat. Hotels are expensive. Eating out while you're away is expensive, so we really needed something to come together, and that's what this story is about. Today is a pretty big day for me. 15 years ago, I was here in Catskill, New York, fishing a Bassmaster Open, the second one of the particular series that year, and basically coming down, in a nutshell, this was the event that really turned things around for me in my tournament fishing years. So it's kind of emotional pulling in here to Catskill, New York, coming into Dutchman's Landing, where almost 15 years ago to the week when I was here fishing a BASS Open event, my first year fishing the Bassmaster Opens. In 2000, I had started to host a nationally aired fishing and hunting show for the Outdoor Channel, and part of the agreement was they wanted me to fish a regional circuit in the Ozark region. It was called Central Pro-Am at that particular time, and I had fished that for about 4 or 5 years and really started to cut my teeth on what tournament fishing is all about. In 2004, I wanted to try to step up to the next level, and I had signed up for the BASS Opens, which right off the bat, there was a $4,500 commitment just in entry fees for 3 events. So I was really nervous about the whole thing. Our first event that season was out of Buffalo, New York on Lake Erie. I had never fished out of Buffalo, and naturally, a little bit nervous and anxious about the whole thing. Well, to fast forward through that week, I had a horrible event. It was a triple-digit finish. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look. There was around 150, 160 boats, and I was probably in that 140th, 150th range. I mean, I did terrible. Second event on this particular circuit this year was the Hudson River at Catskill, New York, and that didn't do much for my nerves. The Hudson River from New York City up to Albany is a tidal water. Now, being a Midwestern boy, I had never fished tidal waters. The tide comes in and out, the bite changes, the fish get in a real negative mood. They do the best when it's on an outgoing tide. So I was really anxious about, one, can I find fish on the Hudson River? And 2, am I going to be able to even stand a chance out there? I left for that second event by myself. Piled up in the truck, gassed it up, got the boat ready to go, left my family, my support system entirely behind, and made the 12, 13, 14-hour drive all the way to Catskill, New York. My truck was old, beat up. The whole drive was just not comfortable all the way out there because I knew what I was getting myself into, and financially as a family we could not afford to have another bad event. So I finally get out there. In practice, things went okay. I thought I had a couple spots that maybe I could, get some fish on an outgoing tide. But that pre-tournament meeting, and I was feeling pretty good walking into the meeting, and then I sit down, and I've got Mike Iaconelli, Bassmaster Classic champion sitting to my right. I've got Woo Daves. He won the Bassmaster Classic in Chicago. He's about 2 rows in front of me. And it starts to go in my head, what am I doing? Why am I here? I was making the walk back to my truck after the pre-tournament meeting, and my hand does what all of us naturally do. It kind of gravitates towards your pocket, and a sense of panic just hit me. My keys weren't there. I thought, are you kidding me? I walk up to the truck, look in the window. Sure enough, in the ignition are my keys, locked in there. I don't have a second set with me. Why? I can't remember. Probably didn't have a second set. Who knows? But the point was, I couldn't get in my truck. The parking lot is just about empty at this point. I couldn't, pull up Google and look for help. I had to find a phone book. Eventually, I was able to locate a locksmith there in Catskill. I called him up. He's in the middle of eating dinner with his family. And what is running through my mind constantly is, how much is this going to cost? Is this going to be another $200, $300, $400, $500? What is it going to cost to get this taken care of? So I'm sitting there by myself in the tailgate of my truck, and after a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever, the locksmith pulls up, and my nerves just crank up to the next level because I know the conversation's going to come about how much. After about 5 minutes, boom, he gets me into the truck, and I ask him the question, how much is this going to cost? And he looks at me and he says, you know what? Forget about it. This isn't going to cost a thing. I have fished this Hudson River my whole life, and I do okay here and there, but I just cannot get on the smallmouth out there. You guys come into a city like this, and you go out and catch these big stringers of fish. I don't even know how you do it. So don't worry about paying me. He says, all I want is for you to go out there. You can do it. Catch a good bag of fish. That's all I'm asking. And he turns around and drives off. And I thought to myself, how am I going to catch this guy a bag of fish? Day 1 of the tournament, I do okay. If I'm thinking back at it, I think I had 2 or 3 fish. I was probably positioned somewhere down in that 90th. And in the BASS Opens at that particular time, you had to make the top 50 to be able to cash a check. Top 50 places got checks, and then you were able to fish on day 3. So day 2 comes out, and I had made up my mind in the hotel that I was going to sit on one spot all day long. I was going to have to wait for the outgoing tide, and I knew in this one location I'd have probably about a 20-minute window of opportunity to catch some good smallmouth. But that outgoing tide wasn't going to be until early afternoon. So I got there first thing in the morning, put the trolling motor down, and I sat on that spot all morning long and caught zip, zero, nothing. My co-angler in the back of the boat's got to be thinking I'm completely crazy, and I keep telling him it. We just got to wait. We got to wait. We got to wait. We got to wait. Well, finally, early afternoon, the tide starts to come back out. And I'll never forget, I was fishing black back chartreuse square bill crankbait. Okay, I believe it's a 4S. And then I was also throwing a 3.5-inch green pumpkin tube. And then all of a sudden, the rod just bent over, and I put a first good smallmouth into the live well. Another one, and that flurry of action was, like I said, about 20 minutes. I had 4 in the box, and I was really pumped up. And then on the tube, I just felt that rod thump. I felt this big thump, and I pull in what's going to be my 5th fish, or my limit, and I lose it at the side of the boat. And then, just like that, the bite stops. I had 4 fish. I tried to get one more fish the rest of that afternoon, and finally it came up where we had to start to head back for weigh-in. And all the way back, I'm driving the boat all the way back, and I remember saying to myself, oh, please, Lord, I hope that this is enough. I hope that 4 fish is enough. And we get to the weigh-in stage. I bring those fish up, and I hold them up there because I got some really nice ones.
And Fishburne is, doing his MC thing, and he's going crazy. He's like, "Oh, Steve, those are some great smallmouth. We will see you tomorrow." Like, whoa, time out, wait. And I turned and I looked at him. I said, "Are you serious? I'm gonna fish on day 3. Are you serious?" And he goes, "Well, just a second. Let's check out for sure." And he turns around and he leans into this little tiny window, almost like a drive-up window, and he says, "Hey, is Steve gonna be fishing tomorrow?" And she says, "Yeah, he'll be here tomorrow." And Fishburne turns around and comes up to me and he said, "You made it. We will see you in the morning." And at that moment, I turn and I look down at this day 2 weigh-in, and I look down in about the second or third row of this big crowd. There's a locksmith. And he looks up at me, thumbs up, turns around, walks away. But that was the last time I ever saw him. Decade and a half later, I have no idea if he's still alive, still around, still in Catskill, still locksmith. I don't know if he's retired. No clue. I've never seen him ever again. But he told me, "Just catch me a bag of fish. I know you can do it." That simple phrase, "I know you can do it," changed everything. That's why I always say to this day, make sure that you go out and encourage someone, because, man, you never know what type of impact that you're going to have on their life.